Hello everyone! Metal Rocker 86 is here again reviewing yet another album. You know something? I've hit a wall recently. It's time for me to try something new. I will review my first double album and it will take me 2 weeks to complete. So here is part 1 of my review of Pink Floyd's The Wall. I don't need to give Pink Floyd's backstory again, but if you'd like to hear it, please go watch my review of Dark Side of the Moon. On to the album. The Wall is the 11th studio album released by Pink Floyd, and it was released on November 30th of 1979. It follows the story of a rock star named Pink, who isolates himself from society and builds a metaphorical wall around him. It has been a platinum multiple times in many countries, including a 23-time platinum in the US, and it reached as high as first on many charts. It consists of 26 songs, and altogether is about an hour and 20 minutes long. The band members include Roger Waters, David Gilmour, Nick Mason, and Richard Wright. Now on to the songs, all of which were both written by and had the vocals performed by Roger Waters, except where stated otherwise. The first song on this album is called In the Flesh, and the tempo is fairly slow. Instrumentation. It starts off with a unique sound, then it goes into some hard guitars with some synthesizer and drums in the background. It then ends with the sound of a baby crying. The song describes the part of the story where the main character, Pink, was born. This was a great song to start the album with, and it leads into The Thin Ice. David Gilmour helped out with vocals on this one, and the tempo is still slow. Instrumentation. The baby crying continues at the start, and then it goes into some soothing pianos. The last 45 seconds of the song, however, consists of some hard guitars with some background drums. Now we get to the part of the story where it shows Pink's time as a baby and toddler. This was another good song on the album, and it leads into Another Brick in the Wall Part 1, and the tempo speeds up a bit. Instrumentation. This one consists of some very quiet guitars, and they set the mood. Now we get to the part in the story where Pink's father has sadly died in World War II, and he starts to build that metaphorical wall around himself. This was another good song on the album, and it leads into The Happiest Days of Our Lives, and the tempo is about the same. Instrumentation. It starts off with a helicopter sound, and then it goes into some speaking dialogue, which is supposed to represent a teacher. The instrumentation is still kind of soft in this one, except for the drums, but the bass is the main focus to start off. We get to the point where Pink is in school, and the teachers are not very nice to him. Roger Waters actually said the lyrics in this song were very similar to what he went through when he was in school. This was another good song on the album, and it leads into Another Brick in the Wall, Part 2. And this one was also released as a single, and the same tempo continues. David Gilmour helps out on the vocals in this one, as do the students from Islington Green School in London, England. Instrumentation. This one starts off with a scream, and then it goes into some awesome guitar riffs with some background drums. During the part where the students sing, the guitars get a bit quieter and the drums are the main focus, but the guitars return after that. At the end of the song, we hear the mean teacher again, and then it goes into a beeping sound. This song is where Pink is adding more bricks to his wall, which represent how his mother was very overprotective and how his teachers abused him. This was an amazing song on the album, and it leads into Mother, where the tempo slows down a bit, and David Gilmour also helps out with the vocals on this one. Instrumentation. This one consists of an acoustic guitar, and it's very soothing, but you can also hear the piano and drums in the background. There is also a guitar solo in this one, and you will love it. This song shows a conversation between Pink and his mother. It shows how she's very overprotective and wants to help him build his wall to keep him away from the rest of the world. This was another good song on the album. Now the tempo slows down a little, and David Gilmour also helped on the vocals in this one. It's called Goodbye Blue Sky. Instrumentation. This one starts off with the sound of a child speaking, and it's actually Roger Waters' son Harry at 2 years of age. Then it goes into some acoustic guitars which are very soothing, but there are some synthesizers in the background. Now Pink is an adult, and he's looking back on the time he spent as a child, and he's preparing himself for what's coming for the rest of his life. This was a great song on the album, and it leads into Empty Spaces. The tempo here is still slow, but not quite as slow as the last one. Instrumentation. This one starts off with a percussion intro, and then the main focus is on the synthesizer. Pink is now married, and he's going through more hardships as he prepares to complete his wall. This was an okay song on the album, and it leads into Young Lust. David Gilmour helped write this one, and the tempo speeds up. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the guitars in this one with some backup bass and drums. The song ends with the sound of some phone calls. This one also has a cool solo. The lyrics represent the part where Pink has now become a celebrity and always going on tour. He hooks up with some groupies to help his life on the road. He tries to call his wife, but a guy answers and he finds out that his wife was cheating on him. This was another good song on the album, and it leads into One of My Turns, and the tempo slows down. Instrumentation. This one starts off with a synthesizer that sets the mood, and it's very soothing. At around the 2-minute mark, however, the tempo speeds up, and the main focus is on the guitar with some drum and piano in the background. After learning of his wife's affair, he invites a groupie into his hotel room. She wants his attention, but he's thinking about how his previous relationship failed. She's still trying to get his attention, and then he goes into a fit of rage and destroys his hotel room. She is then scared away. This was another good song on the album, and it leads into Don't Leave Me Now, and the tempo slows down. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the guitar and piano, which are very soothing and they set the mood. The background drums don't come in, however, until around the 3-minute mark. This is the part of the story where Pink is begging his wife to stay with him after he becomes depressed. This was an okay song on the album, and it leads into Another Brick in the Wall, Part 3, and the tempo is the same as Part 2. Instrumentation. It is also very similar to Part 2, and the main focus is on the hard guitars with some background drums. Now Pink has had more trauma in his life, and he adds some more bricks to his wall, and these ones represents all the people he knew in his life. This was another great song on the album, and it leads into Goodbye Cruel World, and the tempo is slower. Instrumentation. This one consists of a bass, synthesizer, and organ, and it sounds very soothing. We get to the part of the story where Pink has finished his wall, and he's completely isolated from the rest of the outside world. This was another good song on the album.